I don't think you need to draw this picture on your scratch paper. Many of you, if you just know the rule at play here, are going to be able to do this in your head. If W is 136, what they're really showing us here is that these are vertical angles, okay? Anytime you have lines intersecting, the angles that are across from each other on those lines are going to be the same, meaning that Z is also 136. No math to do here. This is just a basic rule of geometry. This is not given to you in the reference chart for geometry though. So this is something you have to memorize, but that's it. Now, just because we're dealing with this picture and I need to drag this video out a bit longer, let's talk about one other rule. No matter what way we look at it, if we take one of these lines, we can find ourselves 180 degrees by just following the line, right? So that's another rule. It's not quite in the reference chart either, but it's very important to know if we're talking about a full line, sometimes that's called a linear pair. Sometimes we just say that those angles are supplementary. So together they add up to 180 degrees. So if I wanted to find this angle right here, I would take my 180, I would subtract out my 136. I would use my calculator to do that because I don't want to mess up. And I would be left with 44 degrees, which would be this angle here. Now, because of vertical angles, I don't need to do that again. I also know that this is 44. So this works when we have two lines intersecting, which is the most common. But even if we have 3 or 4 lines intersecting, we know that if we follow any of those lines, we have 180 degrees on either side of it. And we have vertical angles whenever we are across from the same point, I guess, on those lines. So a very important thing to remember. This is a question that's purely about the vertical angles, but there are tons of questions where it's just one small part, and then there's a million other things going on. So you got to know this rule. It is a basic geometry rule.